What's up, everybody? I'm frankiebiggz. Thank you for stopping by to my channel. And if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and put that notification bell on so you know the next time we do one of these videos. Now, this video actually is going to be probably one of the most important ones that we've done thus far in this channel. Because as you guys know, my wife and I have been taking this BTS journey. We've been doing it chronologically. We started with the rise of Bangtan, and we had done some other guides too. But you guys know that my heart was set on the American Hustle Life because it was set in the West Coast, in Los Angeles, and kind of in the area that I have family, which, if I'm not mistaken, was right in the somewhere between South Central, East LA, Watson, that area. And I recognize some of that area out there, and I really like that. Plus, I come from being a Gen Xer. I'm coming from the whole Dr. Dre, that whole era. So it was really cool to see that BTS had gone out there and hooked up with obviously Nate Walka, who we're going to be talking to, and man, just what else can I say, man? They it was a really cool series, but there was some other things that had happened through the series and that weren't clear. And so when I had seen that Nate was on the show, and this is actually a question for me, which was, how did I feel when I first saw Nate? uh Irene and I looked at each other like, what is that, Nate? And it was just the coolest thing to discover. Not only did I want to see the series, but then to realize that one of my dear friends, was in this, and I was like, wow, we hadn't talked in a little bit, and I don't know, it just made us very warm inside because we know Nate to be one of the coolest human beings ever to walk this earth, and to see him with BTS and be part of their making was just, it was amazing. So today, without further ado, we decided, we called Nate, we asked him, begged him, please, man, could you come on for the Army? Because the Army had so many questions when I had announced that we knew Nate personally. So he agreed to do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Nate Walka. How are
What
you,
up?
homie?
I'm good, bro. How are you? It's good, fam.
Man, it's good to see you. It's very good to see you. And
Same, man. Same.
yeah, I feel like this is just one of the coolest moments of the Frankie Big show, because who back then, when we were, you know, working with Irene on that video and stuff like that, who thought, years later we were going to be doing this whole YouTube thing and TV shows and all that. So it's really good to see you, man. Very
Yeah,
cool.
man. Good to see you too, bro. You already know, man. The world just keeps changing and growing and evolving, and it's exciting times. Every day is like, I'm hanging on by the edge of my seat. It's like, yo, what's gonna happen today? Because it's just like it feels like we're going through quantum loops or something. It's pretty wild.
So it's pretty wild, man. Where do you spend most of your time? Like, I know that you were out, and I know that you jet set a lot out to Los Angeles. Where did you take
Yeah.
up residence at any point there, or?
Yeah. I've lived off and on in LA about 4 times over the last, I say, like 10 years. So,
Yeah, okay.
um, yeah, so it's like a second home to me. I got a lot of friends and family out there. Um, you know, a lot of, I'm well established out there. So basically my transit looks like Atlanta, LA, and Miami for the most parts in state.
Yeah.
And then like when I'm out of state, it's more like Canada, UK, and Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Yeah, I knew that you were out in the UK. That was pretty cool. They
Yeah, man.
really had a really good reception of you there. They really loved you a lot out there. I saw some
Yeah.
video clips here and there.
Shout out
Really
Alicia
cool.
Dixon. That's my
Hey,
home girl. She's she's one of the judges on Britain's Got Talent with Simon Cowell. She's
oh,
really dope.
nice.
Work with her a lot on her music. Super amazing human being, period.
Oh man, we have to maybe do a reaction video on her, man.
Yeah, man,
That
check
might
her
be
out.
might
She's dope.
we have to check her out. Well, look, man, let's dive into the Army's uh questions here. And just overall, before we even start, man, they really, really love you and Tony and respect you guys a lot. I know that after the series,
Respect.
Tony, yeah, Tony had done some interviews, but you hadn't done much. At least if you did, I didn't see it. I saw more of what Tony was doing, like in podcasts and stuff. So it's a real pleasure to the Army as well to see you come out and talk to some stuff. So let's get to it, shall we?
Yes,
Number
sir.
one question, Nate. Now that there are two instances that turned Army off, they're assuming that you know this.
I
Uh,
don't know a
when
lot, so
what?
you're gonna have to like really play it all back for me, like what? Because I
Yeah,
mean, in the sense of like, I don't want to over assume anything, so it's better just for clarity, like
right.
definitely speak to each instance, please.
So I think the two instances that because the whole question was when watching the series, could you tell me which those were? So let me answer that by saying no, he doesn't know what those instances are, but we'll break it to him. So the first instance was the kidnapping in the very beginning when they get
Mm.
to LA, they put him in the van and they simulate this kidnapping thing and it goes well into the night and then you guys come in and kind of break the ice and everything. That was one thing that I guess bothered the Army because they're looking at those guys not being from Los Angeles, and Los Angeles already has its reputation, its street reputation.
Yeah,
So to see those guys genuinely scared out of their mind, it really it hurts a lot of the Army because they're like, why
yeah,
would you do something like that? So that was the
right.
first instance. The second instance was when there was a gentleman that was working with you and Tony, and you guys had broken off into some groups and this gentleman was working with Jin and Jin had a hat on and I don't know, he was trying to show him something or they were developing something and then kind of like out of nowhere he had a rubber chicken and he said, man, y'all don't listen, man. And he hit Jin in the bill of the hat. From that
Mm.
moment on, it was kind of there was a lot of have you seen that instance at all? Did you watch the series?
Honestly, we put so much time into it that and afterwards they blew up and all that stuff. I have not actually fully watched every episode of the series myself. It's just
Right.
like for my own, it's like I just don't, even looking at myself on screen and stuff, like part of the reason I
Right.
don't do podcasts and stuff like that. I'm just not a good personal promoter. But
Right.
but it's cool, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. So yeah, that's why I appreciate you giving me the context because
Yeah, it was. They just felt like, wow, what? Because getting back to the actual scene, what happened was when he did that, um, there was like the way that they edited, the way that the cuts were really kind of ambiguous in a way where like you didn't know what was happening, and all of a sudden you realize that there was some type of a problem, and then he wasn't there anymore. And I think they may have lightly addressed it, but one of the other members got upset at that point. And if it wasn't Jin himself, was kind of like, what was that about? So that's what they wanted to know was what you knew of that situation, what you felt about that instance that had happened.
yeah, I do remember, from my perspective and just being, you know, us actually filming um during that particular situation, I do remember them, like the production company coming and like sitting us down um, without Zaire, right? Because I guess that happened. Hold on. Hey, little dog. Hey, relax. Got my sister's dog here, and
All right.
that must be my sister coming in. So, but yeah, what we had seen. Hold on one sec. This was the culprit. This little
Oh
lady,
my.
Mia.
Look at that.
And then I have
She's
this is my
beautiful.
sister's dog actually. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is Mia. She's a Chihuahua, but she
Yeah.
likes to bark. My dog actually never barks. and
Oh, okay.
she's a Pomsky. Check her out. Say hey.
So cute.
Boy. I don't
Mia
understand.
is her name?
No, this is Athena.
Athena. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
she's
cool names.
she's super cool. She's a little lady. Say hey. All right.
So we can pick it up from you said that they set the production sets you guys down without Zaire. Is that guy's name?
Yeah, yeah. So they set us down without Zaire, and they let us know that something had happened in one of the shoots, and that they had made a decision to exclude him from the rest of the episodes, and they were just gonna focus on, Tony and myself being the mentors. And I mean, we didn't really have much to. I didn't have any input, to put in there. Um, what I'm saying, I definitely reached out to Zaire after we shot, and he was kind of confused why they took him out. He did tell me that he said that they told him that they had just made a decision from, I guess, based on how the shooting was going, that instead of it being like three mentors, they just wanted it to be Tony and myself. So, um,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
didn't even know that he hit anybody. So that's kind of crazy. Maybe that's what happened. He said he hit him with a hat or a rubber chicken or something.
Yeah. So Jin had I think a visor hat on
Mm,
and that day, and they were doing something that involved a rubber chicken. And I don't think that he was trying to communicate with Jin, but Jin obviously those guys don't speak English, so he was having
right.
a hard time understanding what he was wanting them to do.
Mm,
And so when he thought he had what it was that he was doing it wrong. And Zaire went, man, and he hit him he hit his visor like, man, y'all don't listen. Now, I told Irene when I saw it, I said, I understand that that was jolting to them. They don't understand that kind of humor, but he didn't mean that. He didn't
right.
mean it
Yeah,
in
he's
a
a good
bad
guy.
way.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not.
he was just he was treating him like a brother, like brothers. Like, ah, man, you don't listen, man. You know what I mean? He was
Right.
just being playful is what it was, but Jin didn't take it like that at all. You know what I mean? And it just really you could see that it upset him, and it RM and the other guys were kind of like, the hell was that about? You know what I mean? And I was cringy. So that's the thing was that there are a lot of moments like that in the series that are real cringy. Like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
geez, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, man,
Man,
like
that's what
these
happens. You
poor
put people
guys.
together, they're from two different walks of life. And, you know, for one, there's a huge, like you said, language barrier. Like, nobody. So for me, it's like, it's all about at least the first, in my opinion, the way I approached everything was like the first step is to seek understanding, and to
Yeah, yeah,
seek to be understood, So it's like, and understand that, hey, look, everything that I'm saying may not actually come across how I mean it. Everything that they're
mhm,
doing and saying may not come across how they mean it. And kind of just focus on the broad strokes, not the little details. Not like, oh, you didn't
right,
do this one little thing right. It's like,
yeah,
we're communicating. We're trying to communicate here. They're in a whole new place. This was their first time ever being in America, ever being in LA. We set up their first show in LA, in America, rather, and at the Troubadour. So it was a lot of firsts, and they weren't even, now this is something, they weren't even like the band themselves, and no one around them, the label, the company, no one assumed that they had any type of following in America at the time of shooting the show. So
right,
when they arrived in America, they weren't expecting anything. They were just expecting to, land, get into the car and come down. We were, stationed downtown LA. And that changed. Well, as soon as they landed, we get a call like, we're gonna have to push back our start times because there's like over 500 people here at the airport with like posters and flyers, all this stuff. Um, and they had to circle the actual airport 4 times, I heard, just to kind of like lose everyone that was following them and all that stuff. So it was they
Wow.
were even the guys were completely shocked. They were like, "Whoa, like this is America!" Like like people know us here, you know. So that was shocking for them as well. I was
Huge Korean population there in Los Angeles. So
yeah.
yeah, it was. I remember before that scene was happening, I had thought to myself, I'm like, man, up until this part, they had actually done some things. So there had to have been people that were going to be around them. And it's sure enough, that's in the series that they get off the plane and there were people there.
Oh,
Now,
that
the
is
next,
oh dope. I didn't
it's there. Yeah.
see. I gotta watch it, man. I gotta watch it. I just hate. I cringe when I see myself on camera, especially
Oh
other
man,
people
you look
editing.
fine, dog. You
Uh,
look great. You look
uh,
great. This next question is from Karen Angela. As someone who had already won a Grammy by then, did anything about them catch your attention early on?
Hi there, Karen. Yes, absolutely. So in my opinion, the road to winning a Grammy is work ethic, and that's something that BTS displayed at like a super high level, like among the likes of the greats, the greatest that I've ever seen in person. The Will Smiths, the Timberlands, the Michael Jacksons, like they were on that level when it came to work ethic, and it didn't
Right.
matter technically what they were working on, they were given 110% no matter what. So it was, you know, their whole day was really blocked out, so it was be like, so I was shocked to even see that they were finding time to put in for every little thing, but every day, that's how you grow something. You got to put, time and attention into it each and every day. And the way that they were set up is like, for me, I'm more like, okay, we're gonna focus on this. Actually, I used to be, ever since that show, I've actually transitioned how I move. And I actually take a lot from those moments and seeing how they move like it's like a machine, like a well-oiled machine in a sense where you make time for each thing each day. You really set a high bar to get it done. So they were doing vocal lessons, they were doing choreography lessons, they were recording, they were meeting with the stylist, they were taking pictures, they were working out. They were doing everything every day, and we were filming, and they were doing the challenges, and it was just like really like, to me, like their brain level has to be IQ of a genius, like every one of them, because the the level that they're operating at is it's not normal. It's like beyond for sure.
It's discipline, like
Hmm.
outdoing discipline. You know what I mean? Like the way that Hive has developed them and pretty much made them like the mold, the poster child of what's to come with other artists that they signed to their label is it's incredible, man. By the way, that was a question they wanted to know. Did you ever get a chance to meet the big man, the Hitman Bang? And if you did, what did you think of him?
I never got to meet Hitman Bang.
Okay.
I was working close with the production team. It was, there was about 12 cameramen every day, and and they used different cameras. That was something I thought was unique is they used so many different type of cameras, and then they had two production managers, a stylist, nutritionist, makeup, etc., things like that. But
They had it all,
Um,
man. They got it all.
yeah, yeah.
Well, the next question is from Rhododendron. And the question is, they were young and impressionable from a different culture and didn't speak the language. How did you plan to approach them? And was it close? How was it close to how it was shown on the TV show? Meaning,
Start that one more time. Give me that one more
yeah. So they were young and impressionable from a different culture and didn't speak the language. How
time.
did you plan to approach them? And was it close to how you approached them, your plan? Was it close to how it played out on the TV show?
So again, I really gotta watch to see exactly how they narrated everything. But for me, my plan with the approach is I'm just like a very real person at the end of the day, right? I didn't even plan on booking this. This was something that came because someone I was working with, Jeff Yu at the time, he's a Korean American, and he just since he knows me personally, he had known me for years. He was like, "Bro, you would be perfect for this. This is what they're doing. Everyone else is, auditioning for it, but I just want you to be a part of it." So, that's kind of how I got brought into the picture. But
Mhm.
the so my approach is the same approach I do with anyone new that I meet is I'm there to learn, and we are trying to communicate because even if we both speak English, a lot of times because I've lived in so many different places throughout the world and my journey has been so fluid and just since I was a kid, it was like I felt like a nomad. What I learned is that every time I would go to a new school, every time I would go to a new city, the things that I knew before on how culture work, community work, communicating work, it would be like I would need to start from zero because to assume that like, oh, when I say, hey, let's go do this is the same, you know, for them as it was from where I came from is like a huge leap and a huge assumption to make that 9 times out of 10 may not be correct. And everyone deserves that foundational, like kind of core, like, hey, hear me. Don't hear what you've heard. Hear me out. Understand what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say to you, and let's grow from there. And so that was pretty much my approach is to like, of course I'm like, hey, they don't know, anything about this culture. It was already brought to our attention that that's what we're here to do is to kind of show them the ropes
Introduce
of
them.
the
Yeah.
American, hustle, the American grind, these different things that we come up with in America as a culture, what I'm saying? Like so that they can have a piece of that, what I'm saying? That's why it was important for me to do the Skid Row scene, because I find it important just to kind of see that at the end of the day, everyone's a person. People are people, right? And so when and one thing could spiral someone into a place that you couldn't imagine. And so I think it was good to just, for me, I really wanted that so that we could hear some stories so they could see like, oh wow, these people are people and just because this is where they are, it doesn't mean this is where they've always been, and it doesn't mean this is where they always will be. You know what I'm saying? But this
Right.
is just like a moment in their lives, and this moment could happen to anyone. You know what I'm saying? If they make the wrong choices
Right.
and go along these different paths. So yeah, I think for me, just approaching them, it was like, I had no real all I knew was like the music, right? I had, they sent me the music before we met. And so I knew that they were talented and I knew that they were hardworking. And the rest, I'm like a big show me kind of person. You can tell me a lot, but I would much rather
You gotta show it to me.
people show me. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I just, that's how I move.
The next question, and this is from Menno Hero, Menno Villain. Did anyone in particular stand out to you and why in the group?
Something no hero. Um, yeah, I mean my boy B. I mean everyone stood out. Everyone has their own specific like thing or quirk that makes them unique and special. So I think that's why BTS works so well as a group, is that
Yeah.
it's not it's not like one guy, you got seven of the same people. It's like literally everyone has is bringing something different to the table and has their own unique, specialness about them. Um,
Right.
from the jump, of course, like from the jump, Ratmon also is like, he just stands out because for one, he speaks English better than the rest of them, at least at that time, of course. And it was like, a lot of times he was the one that was translating for the group, so I would be communicating with him a lot, and
Mhm.
he would be translating that to the group. And then yeah, and Ratmon, he's just a natural born leader. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of just see that in him. He's got that
Yeah.
big brother kind of mentality where he wants to look
Yeah.
after the group and make sure everyone's okay. And then Jen is, super talented and just easy to, you know, like Jen is dope. You know what I'm saying? Jen's like he's just like one of those like his spirit is a rare kind of spirit, you know what I'm saying? And then Jimmy is just one of those like everyone loves him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves him.
So does
And
Irene.
dope, dope. Sugar is
I'm
like
still
one of
listening.
I know, I
those.
know. I said it because I knew you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He's a
Sugar.
lot of people's favorite. Yeah, Sugar is like to me. Sugar is like he's been here before many times. You know what I'm saying? He just
Yeah.
got this like super cool, chill, no matter what is going on. I've never really seen him like fret or be like caught off guard, even when he's off guard. You know what I'm saying? He's always
He's
kind of
got a
got this.
gangster spirit.
Yeah, it's like
He's
whoa,
got a gangster spirit, man. Like out of all of them, that cat to me is the gangster of the group, like the real G. Like I don't
100%.
think that you don't want to mess with that cat if you piss him off
Yeah,
because he does look like he could turn into something else that you don't. I could never see.
exactly.
I could see Jimin and V, and there have been reports, that those two have gone at it, and all of those guys are trained fighters. On top of that, but you wouldn't expect Jimin, to be like Sugar. You know what I mean? There's Jimin and then there's Sugar. And Sugar is
Right.
like, I'm gonna play the part, I'm gonna do the part, and I'm gonna do it well. I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna make this look really good. But don't fuck with
Exactly.
me.
But
You know what
don't.
I mean? Like he's
Yeah,
got that, like he could play a gangster in a
for
movie. I could see him
sure.
doing it.
He should. Like that would be I would watch that a lot. You know what I'm
I
saying?
would
Like
too. And
we
man,
need to
have you
vote for
heard
that.
RM's record?
Which one? I mean,
The
so
very
many
the one
records.
that just came out. Yeah,
Uh
this past
I
year.
mean, let's shoot, we should play it. I haven't heard
Oh, I wish we could.
it.
Bro, I wish we could, but let me say this. That that dude, man, because this record is all him. It was him and one of his boys that does some production. Yo,
Yeah,
they put a record together that is way underrated, man. I mean, way underrated. That dude is so talented, and his production in that record is like unbelievable, man. I mean, I'm cheating a little bit because I've heard a couple of things and I did review one of his tunes, but I've
yeah.
on purpose not listened to the entire record because I'm going to do a record review on it, and I know I'm going to love it.
Nice.
It's so eclectic and just so creative, man. You
Maybe we
definitely
could
got
do
to
that
take a
together.
listen.
I haven't heard
That's
it,
what I was
so
about
we
to
could probably
say.
do the
Yeah, let's
reaction.
That
do it,
the
man. And I know
two
you would
Yeah,
dig it too, man,
together.
because it's not a straight ahead record like normal. You know what I mean? Like he really goes far out and really just kind of on a spiritual level, bro. He really brings it in my like I told you, I've one full tune that I've reviewed and half of one song, and I shut it off and I told Irene, I said, I got it. I got to listen to this record from beginning to the end because I know that it's not going to be a record that's heard. It's got to be it's a record that's experienced, that you
Mm,
experience it. So yeah,
yeah,
let's do that, man. Let's do it together, man. I would love to
let's
set
do
that
it.
up.
Let's do it.
That would be
Let's do
great.
it.
Let me get to the next question. Well,
Perfect.
I know that you've talked about this, and this is from JMHE7CI. We'll just say JM, but the question was pretty broad. What is it like to work with BTS? Maybe you could elaborate a little more.
What's good, JM? So yeah, to work with them is it's like working with a with a bunch of little brothers, low key, because they're super humble. They're just real. They're not like it's different than working with like I would say like an American talent. Because something with the culture of Korea, they in my opinion, it's just like they're very, very humble, like all of them, because they don't view themselves as like I'm the star. They really view themselves as like I'm a piece of a broader, collective. And
Right.
and that it's their job to, it's like, hey, it's my job to do this. Like I gotta do my part. And so, that's why that to me was the emphasis they were putting behind the work ethic and the scheduling and all that stuff is because they don't want to let everyone else down because they're like, hey, there's so many other people working and doing their part. We got to do our part, you know. So and they have each other to lean on too, which I think is super dope. And that's one thing that I'm thankful that they have is one another because
Yeah.
fame is tough as it so much going on, but having each other is that's everything because as things go up and down or you feel certain ways, at least you have each other to kind of like share those moments with and those anxieties and different obstacles as they occur, and also the bright sides. You know what I'm saying? You got somebody to celebrate with on that same
Right.
level. So I'm thankful for that for them.
That actually leads into the next question, which is from Karen Angela. Did you ever get the feeling back then that they might go on to become these big global stars?
What's good, Karen? I'm gonna call you Angela because Karen's they had a tough year
Right.
last year.
Karen's had a bad year last year. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a bad year, man. But
Mm.
hey, it's all good. It's all love, peace over here. Um, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the first interaction with their music that I saw was Bulletproof, and that was before I met him. And
Mm.
that just watching that one video is what got me on board to do this. And it was interesting because at this time there was uh, there was like a writing camp I want to say for like EXO going on. I
Mhm.
believe EXO had like a number one record out at the time, and their camp was like trying to get me to not do the show and to come and work with EXO because they were saying like, oh, BTS, they're not, they're like there was a believe it or not, there was a lot of doubters of them. You know what I'm saying? They felt like
Mm.
it was an experiment and that it wasn't going to it was just they were calling them like a filler kind of group and all this stuff. And when I watched that video, I was like, man, they don't. I was like, whoever that is talking, like he don't even understand what music and entertainment is really about. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
out of everything that I had, seen in the K-pop world, I'm like, this that really stuck out to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
I loved everything about that Bulletproof song actually. And yeah, I was a fan off that. I was like, whoa, like, oh, this is like this is hot. So yeah, and then when I got with them, like I said, it's like they have that star quality. Um, they don't let the pressure get to them. They always are striving to do their part. So you can go a long way when that's how your mode of operation is to, stay consistent, do your part, and you let definitely let other people big you up, but they don't take a lot of that in on, they're not like boastful, they're not like, braggadocious or anything like that.
Right.
Which I find those qualities to be charming in superstars. And I think that that's what helps a star elevate, like Michael Jackson, for example. Like, I think that was one of his biggest qualities is that he gave you the star on stage, and that's what they did. When it's time to perform, they perform. But in his regular life and interviews and interactions with people, he was humble. You know what I'm saying? He knew he was talented. He knew he had this immense gift, but he didn't like rub it in people's face. He didn't, if anything, he would use it to make people smile and bring joy. And that's really what this is all about. You know what I'm saying? When you remove the money, remove the accolades, the everything, the prestige that comes along. Like at the end of the day, the core fundamental goal of entertainment is to entertain. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to put a smile on someone's face or help them to forget about their current circumstance or view the world in a different way, um, and that creates hope. And I think they do that exceedingly well. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I knew they were stars before I even met them. I was surprised to even hear the naysayers' voices. Trying. I was like who is? I don't want to put that guy's
Exactly,
information out there,
bro.
but I'm like, man, this
Yeah.
dude. He got hit records and K-pop and all that stuff, but it's like, man, that don't matter.
I mean, now it doesn't matter because they actually make up 3 to 4% of the South Korean GDP overall in their country. What
I
other artists can you say can contribute to the literal economics of your country? And
100%
so that's how big they are.
huge.
Just a few more questions here, man. Any updates? This is from Rhododendron. Any updates whatsoever will be amazing to hear. Like, are you married, kids, new endeavors, anything really?
Appreciate that. Um, and what was their name again? Sorry,
Rhododendron.
Rhoda. Pleasure. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I have some new endeavors. I don't have kids, unfortunately. Well, not at the moment. It's not unfortunate. It's just that you know, I haven't found a significant other just yet. That I'm ready to take that leap with. But I have been,
Lisa, he's available.
and
Lisa,
yeah. But I have been working really, really diligently the past 10 months on a specific project, but overall, the last, like, I would say, since COVID, really, just like on a whole shift. And that journey was not just educational or anything like that. It was more like, spiritual, mental, all those things to evolve myself to a higher place and resonate at a higher level. And so the last 10 months, I've been um, venturing into a bit of a industry shift where I'm actually working in the tech industry. About 10 months ago, I signed up for this free course that Harvard was offering, and I completed that, and it gave me the skills and confidence to create my own application. It's actually available in the iOS store less than 30 days ago now,
wow,
and it's an application that helps teach people new languages through music. And
nice.
because I felt that that was something unique that I could bring, because that's one of the things the course helps you realize. It's like, hey, look, now that you have a particular set of skills, um, how could you take these skills, combine it with what you already know and do, and bring something of value to the world, to the people? And so that's what I worked on. That's what I was able to accomplish with my application. It's called Singuist, which is just a play on the word linguist. So, like,
Right.
linguist, as I'm sure everyone knows, is someone who specializes in foreign languages. And so I just, we call it Singuist. And I actually have a shirt on for right now. You can see.
Hey,
Hey, I am a
there you
Singuist.
go.
You dig?
I'm a Singuist. Cool. You know,
Yeah.
that's how Irene learned English.
Oh, fire through music.
Yep.
Exactly. Through music.
See?
Yep.
Yeah.
Through
Because there's
Mariah
actually,
Carey taught Irene English.
Yes,
wow.
absolutely.
Shout out to the
Mariah,
GOAT,
Whitney.
Mariah. See, and
Yep.
that's so important, you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's so wild that, this is actually sound is how we all learn our native tongues. You know what I'm saying? We actually learn these words in our vocabulary before we actually attach meaning to them, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when we're kids, if you remember, or or if you have children, you'll notice that sometimes, like let's say a 2 year old might say a word that we consider a bad word, right? But you can't be mad at 2 year old because they don't know what they're saying, right? And then they develop all these words, and they get to a phase in their development where they start asking, "What's this?" Right? And so what's actually happening, neurologically, is they have now this reservoir of vocabulary that they're trying to make meaning of, and they're trying to attach those words to meaning. So the what's this stage is actually them saying like, okay, like I have this vocabulary. What's this? So I can like try and attach some of this vocabulary I have to meaning because I have these words, but I don't know what they mean. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So that's kind of the similar approach that we take. We encourage our users to first listen, right, and just listen
Hmm.
to the song, the melodies, because the way music works, the melodies are catchy, and you will begin to catch on to the melodies. And it doesn't matter if you can't pronunciate it all the way, you don't really fully understand what's being said, it's okay because as you're singing it, now what you've done is you've created a seed, right? And now your subconscious is going to seek resolve and resolution. So it'll actually, instead of you telling your, like with your conscious mind saying, hey, learn this, learn this, learn this, your subconscious will actually request information, you know what I'm saying, that it wants to retain. And that makes the retention, 60 to 70% greater, according to like Harvard studies done in 2018. So um, this is, what I'm saying, I can't believe that it didn't exist before I created it. Of course, it's a familiar thing, but this is a just an innovative thing on something that's very familiar to all of us. And if I didn't create it, I'm sure someone else would relatively soon. So I'm just thankful that I was able to bring it to market first. Um, yeah, and I'll be, so I'll definitely make some type of promotional link for everyone that follows Frankiebiggz, so that they
Yeah,
can get it,
definitely.
for a discount or something. We'll figure it out. But right now we're only offering our main offering is really catered towards English speakers that want to learn Spanish. But it can also be used for Spanish speakers that want to learn English. But we are creating a version of the app that's specific for Spanish speakers that want to learn English. And then we're going to grow into French, Italian, Portuguese, and Korean.
Bro, listen, I live here in Barcelona.
Hmm.
I'm Mexican American,
Right.
and I grew up with my parents, speaking Spanish, but I never learned, man. I never learned. It wasn't something that we weren't allowed to speak it in school. So back then, if we were caught speaking Spanish, we got paddled, and it was
Ouch.
racism 101, big time.
Yeah.
But so we never really there wasn't a need at that point for us to learn Spanish. We had to learn English. And when I met Irene all that time, and I mean, I knew I was around Spanish language all my life, so I kind of picked up on it. But it wasn't until I moved here to Spain that I started to kind of be able to start connecting the dots and everything. But when Irene told me that she learned through music, and I met somebody else that learned Spanish through music, vice versa, I thought, man, there's something to that. I wanna learn that. And believe me, the family gatherings here, everybody's speaking Spanish. They all always tease me like, when are you gonna learn? I'm like, yo, I'm
Exactly.
I'm 52 years old, bro. I'm like 53. I mean,
You can
I
still
can't
learn.
remember
It
which.
ain't too late.
I know it's not too late. It's just not easy when you know what I mean. So if I can, I
Traditional
believe that,
methods. Yeah, traditional
yeah.
methods for sure.
Well, I also need to break the chain of self doubt as well. And the only
True.
way to do that is to, for me, is to be able to do it in a way that is easy for me to learn it through music. And I think that this is great. So I would love to be one of your people, because this guy needs to learn it. I have a Grammy in Spanish. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yet I can't fucking speak Spanish. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I gotta change that. Question for you. Um, it says, we know you have worked with other K-pop and J-pop artists. Can you tell us more about it? Is there plans to work with BTS when they do come back?
So that's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm always open to work with BTS, but for me, I'm just one of those like I'm always fighting for the underdog. And in my opinion, like BTS, they're so big that there's so many writers and producers that are writing for them and submitting records and all this stuff, and that's great. And I don't know. For me, I just sometimes tainting the relationship with the business of like like I never wanted them to question like our personal friendship, with like me trying to get placements on records and all those things. So for me, it's not like I don't really view it like it's not my part of my agenda is to write records for them. But I have been thinking about creating a show and basically where I create my own K-pop group and but I want it to be like an American K-pop group. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to just like take Korean Americans and I want to audition them, put them together, and have them like you know actually sing the songs I write for K-pop. Um, because I know a lot of the army and fans. They don't, they're not. They don't understand the plight of the songwriter or the producer in the in the music industry, but there's thousands of us, right? And everyone's everyone's like working and trying to get a lot of the same, get on a lot of the same projects. And I just, I just really don't like that whole um, hamster wheel kind of mentality where you're just like, everybody's, because then it's like it turns everything into everybody wants something and it makes a lot of the relationships a little disingenuous. So for me, I'd rather be, totally upfront about everything and what we're trying to do and accomplish. And so I feel like, in my heart, this would be a good way and it would give a lot of talented people an opportunity to showcase their talent. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a reservoir of K-pop records that I've written that I have not pitched that are,
Mhm.
in my opinion, great. They're amazing records. And so for me, I'm like, man, instead of giving it to people that already have these massive platforms and can reach all these people, it's like, why don't we take a chance on some new talent? Because if we don't, then who will? You know?
Right. I've always been that guy too, man. I've always had a bleeding heart for the underdog, because I am the underdog still. You know what I mean? But I'm an underdog that's been through the game. And I'm good. Like, I'm still waiting for my time. I'm still waiting for my moment. But it also, because of my age too, I look at it as it's not it's important to me, but it's also important to discover new talent. I think it's the seeds that count, the new groups and those efforts. I think need to be concerted towards the new generation because it's got to go on. It's got to go on. But I'll tell you something, Nate. You bring up a really first off that idea of coming up with a K-pop group. Even Irene and I have we've had that whole conversation, and I've told her I'm like, you really just need like two different people because if you have the studio and you have the production part of it done, you just need to sell that idea to a person that has a dance studio who's willing to put their effort like you did in the production into the show, into to getting them developed. So I figure like if you did do a show like that, think of it like this though. You did those guys a favor, and that's real. You did those cats some big favors. Not to say that they owe you, but if I know that
Yeah.
culture, you don't have to even bring that up. It's already assumed that if you decided I want to put this group together and you know, hey man, I was on your show. I helped develop you guys. Would you guys mind, being on my show for one or two things to do what I did for you, but for
Mhm.
now you do that for them the way that I helped develop you. Now you guys come in and do that for them or something. I can't see where they would one think that you were being disingenuous and two that it would be a rub in your relationship, especially with V. I think he'd be like, I'm on the first fucking plane to you. Like,
Big V.
let's do this, dog. You know what I mean? They would never
Yeah.
ever, because I think in their mind, they at least owe you that much. And even though you're not the collector, you're not a tax collector, you're not trying to say you owe me. I
Right.
just think that they would feel like if you did this and you didn't ask them, I think they might be a little bit like, what's he doing? You know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
dog, you know what I
Trying,
mean?
yeah, you trying to create
We owe you.
our competition. Yeah,
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I think that they would be, I think that if you told them what you were doing and just put it out there like that, I don't think it would be
it's a good
I
point.
think they'd be more upset or hurt if you didn't ask for that because I think in their mind, especially with V, like he loves you. And
That's my
I don't
boy.
think you could ever be disingenuous to V, not ever. I don't know about the other guys, but I saw that your relationship with you and V was cool. And it's really crazy because V is my bias. And
Oh,
I
really?
even have a crazy,
Dope.
oh yeah, I got in trouble with the army, man, because in the very beginning, when I started this reaction video, they wanted me to react to "Are You Sure?" This was Jimin and JK that went on vacation. They went on to two different things and they filmed it. It was a Disney production. And so
Mhm.
I basically did like an on-air book report about every episode and what I thought about it, my reaction to it. But when V came in, now keep in mind the context is that I didn't know these guys. I knew nothing about them. This was just me jumping into this whole thing.
Mhm.
And when V came to see them in the episode, the way that they edited it, because those editors are good, man. If they
Oh
they
yeah.
can create drama if they want to, and they
Oh yeah.
kind of did with the way that they edited this video. They made V out to be kind of, and I said it, bitchy, meaning that he was being very bitchy. Like at one point, he said something to them, and it was Jimin that fired back at him, like, if you want to, you can go back to Seoul. Nobody basically cares if you're here or you're not. And it was like this tension, this very tensioned moment between them. And they said, if you don't want to be here, you can take off. Like, you know, you don't have to hang out with us. And then from that point, he kind of lightened up. And so all I
But
said
you
in my
know what
review
that
was,
is, though. You know what that
yeah,
is.
I know exactly what it was,
That's
but I didn't
you
want to
know
say it right. I
reverse
didn't want to say it
psychology.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and 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 I didn't want to say it to be mean. I just said, man, he's just this guy's being a little bitchy. Like he's being very bitchy towards them. Like the internet exploded. Everybody started saying that I called him a bitch. And you don't even know how many times I had to say, let me tell you something. I'm
Don't
from the
do
United
that.
States. I'm like, first off, is you don't call anybody that name. You would never hear me call another man a bitch because where I come from, if you say that to another dude, the response is you're going to get beaten up. You guys want my honest reaction. And this is what it was. And so we went through this whole thing, man. And in the end, the army ended up accepting me because I told them the truth. I said, look, you guys are being rough on me. Like, I don't know these
Yeah, they
guys. I
don't
think
play.
they're amazing. I said, this was a
Yeah,
suggestion. I said, and I'm taking my time to as an old man to learn about these guys. I said, but I'm also from the streets in Detroit. So, you know what I mean? I'm like, you
yeah.
don't know my life, and for you to accuse me of calling another man a bitch, I said that's prison rules, and you got to know that that didn't happen, and they did. They tried to get me banned, and it ended up blowing up in these haters' faces because what I ended up finding out was very something super dynamic, which was that the people that were trying to get me down, the people who were out there spreading this rumor that I had called this guy this name actually ended up being like these people who hate BTS, who like their whole jobs are out to troll people and reactors and everything. Like even some
Yeah.
of the questions and some of the comments we got for you, there's still one or two of these people that had some smart shit to say, and we're not gonna talk about it because it was just dumb. But there's just like this whole set of they call themselves the army, but they're not. They're like just
Yeah.
mean trolls, you know.
Yeah. They're the
But that's
army.
my thing with V because because after that, when I learned more about V, it ended up being that he was my favorite. And then looking back at it, now knowing their personalities, now I can look back at that and say he's actually a very humble, a beautiful soul, and
Yeah.
he's just a beautiful person inward and outward. But there are times when he kind of just shuts down a little bit. He's a very serious man,
I mean,
and
you got to think
his
about it.
music to me is the best.
Yeah, and they're people, right? Just like I said,
Right.
everyone's a person. They're people, you know what I'm saying? Even though they're icons, they're still people. And I think sometimes, people that aren't hip to them and understanding of that, who just view them as the icon, they kind of lose sight of the amount of work that they're putting in and
Yeah.
the lens that they're under. It's a lot of work that they're putting in, you know what I'm saying? Like for anyone, even if you were working, no matter what the job was, you could be I don't know, you could be anything, right? And you could be an attorney, and if you put in that type of time and attention, it it has it takes a toll on you, right? And so
Yeah.
and they're not fake. You know what I'm saying? They're really who they are. So that becomes, so like you're gonna get the human element at times. So I think it's important for everyone to have that space and that elasticity to, what I'm saying, give people. I think that's one thing with our culture. We just really gotta be more like forgiving in a sense of like allow people to breathe, allow our celebrities to breathe, allow our influencers to breathe, allow these
Yeah.
stars to breathe because they're people too. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said something, but you might not have meant it the
No, not at all. We lost you, Nate.
Nate, we lost you. Audio.
We lost you, Nate. Yeah. We we lost your audio for some reason.
Can you hear me now? Hold on one
Yeah.
sec.
Now we can hear you. Yeah, there you go. But the last thing we heard you say was that people are people and people need to lighten up on the celebrities and influencers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. People just need to, in my opinion, lighten up on the celebrities, the influencers. Just like I was saying, like in your case, and it's not even just celebrities, it's all people, you know what I'm saying? Because even in my regular life, I witness these type of misunderstandings and these like scrutiny and all this thing off of what people are saying. And that shows you how important words are, right?
Yeah.
Because like I was saying earlier, with my background and my upbringing, like I was able to see different walks of life and understand that, oh, this phrase over here, even though we're all speaking English, it means a completely different thing when I go over there and I say this,
Right.
and
Right.
and most people aren't even like aware. They're just like attacking because of how they feel about what you said, and they're
Yeah.
interpreting it, and so it's projecting instead of like actually seeking understanding and being like, hey, you know what, let me make sure he means what he's saying, what I'm saying, before I jump down his throat. You know what I'm saying?
And they
Like, let me
did.
see. Right. I'm
And
sure
they did,
that's
man. They did, because it got so bad that I was getting death threats, number one. And then I
whoa.
also learned that apparently I have a granddaughter, which I have zero grandkids. And this is about the time that Irene and I had discovered what shippers were, and the fact that there's this whole section of the army of the fandom that they ship these guys together, meaning that they think that JK and Jimin are sleeping together. Like it's really
Oh,
crazy, like
yeah.
elementary school type stuff. And the thing was that was the first experience that we had with that. We never knew that type of stuff had existed. Like and it was so hardcore. So I was getting a lot of the people that were V stands, basically the ones that were defending me, because a lot of them
Mhm.
were like, listen, we love V2, he's our bias, but this guy didn't say anything wrong, number one, and we agree with him. The way that they edited those scenes with V was not fair. They made him look like he was being bitchy, and
Right.
it was cool to see, because I mean the video blew up, bro. It just got, Irene, how many it was like 30,000 or 60,000 views, something
Like
crazy.
30,000
And
or 30 something thousand.
right. And then they tried to manipulate the video, Nate. What they did was they took the part that I did and they sped it up so
Mm.
that when I said what I said, it was supposedly supposed to sound like me saying that he was a bitch. Like they tried every way to manipulate it. Then they tried to take me down. They tried everything they could. And it was legions of these people, like thousands of these fucking people were after me. And in the end,
Wow.
they never took me. And those people, I have to thank those people, because they're the ones who made my channel blow up, because then the real army came in and analyzed what I was doing. And they're like, nah, man, don't worry
Yeah.
about those guys. Like
Yeah. The real
they're not
army,
real army.
they got
Yeah.
purple hearts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They gone.
What is your take on each of their personalities? What do you think about each one of these cats?
Well, that's a good question. Um, I think, and it's kind of like I touched on it a bit, um, but let me see. Touched on it a bit, but I would say so. Hmm.
You can give an overall general. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
I'm like,
personality you like to touch on.
yeah, I mean, like, I think I said it on the show that like the, and I was saying it jokingly, but like I called him the dumb blonde of the group, right? And
Oh my god,
but the
that's
reason I
funny.
said that is because, he can kind of, what I'm saying, he's so emotional in the sense where he's like, what I'm saying, it's like, oh, he's gonna be expressive. He's very expressive. That's what it is. Like
Right, right.
if he's not feeling something, if he is feeling something or whatever, so it can kind of like, what I'm saying, you can doubt his intelligence, even though he's highly intelligent, if you're just going off of like his expressions and how he's going about things, right? Because he can be nonchalant, what I'm saying? He can, what I'm saying, if he's tired, he's gonna, oh, I'm tired, what I'm saying? He's gonna let you know. Um, but like I said, what I'm saying, but it's just like you can't, it's like he's my favorite, one of my favorite human beings. Um, and as far as like, of course, Rapmon, RM, he's he's a leader. He's the leader of the pack. He's the glue, in my opinion. He keeps it all. He keeps all the wheels on track. And to me, he's I don't even know how else to kind of put it.
He's the
Um
boss, man. He's the
he's
goat.
the
He's
boss. Yeah, he the boss, man. But he
boss
also
man.
allows everyone to be, you know what I'm saying, who they are, and, you know, doesn't, you know, like even when they have like conflicts, like either he's trying to resolve it or he's gonna let them like kind of play it out, you know.
Right.
And
He's kind of the referee, the goalpost, or the goalie.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I could never really imagine him like having a real altercation with anyone, you know what I'm saying? It's like with him, he's always just, if anything, he's gonna try and help them understand either where they're misunderstanding or, you know, why, you know what I'm saying, things got off track. Um, as far as like Jen, you know, Jen is like his vocals crazy, right? And you know, he has these really high beauty standards, of course. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm sure, you know, the fans and the army appreciate. You know what I'm saying? So that's always needed. Um, you know, Sugar, like to me, like he's that's like you know, like that's to me, he's a black guy. You know what I'm saying? He's
I mean,
he's
he's got the name Sugar. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's a
man.
Detroit pimp's name, you know?
Right, man. Pimping ain't dead as long as
Sugar.
Sugar around. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, Sugar, he no joke. And then J Hope, like
Totally
crazy
opposite of Sugar.
dancer, crazy,
Yeah.
yeah, total opposite, super sweet. You know, get the shirt off his back. Literally, I believe he literally gave his shirt off his back, like in front of me once to somebody. Um, yeah, that's to me, J Hope. He, you know, he's like always, I've never seen him like engage in any type of real conflict with anyone. You know what I'm saying? If anything, he's like trying to like keep that peace, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And be
Right.
out the way. And you know, he focuses on honing his craft and his gifts. Which of course we all appreciate because we get to benefit off seeing that. I would say, you know, Jimin is like we said, he's the most lovable, like he's like the teddy bear of the group, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he can, in my opinion,
Excuse
he can
me.
yeah, he can do no wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's like everyone's favorite little brother kind of situation. Um super, you know, pure, genuine soul. And I would say Jungkook is like he's just like a mix of everything. You know what I'm saying? Like he would be, in my opinion, like the most versatile. And he just has that, you know, it's it's wild, you know what I'm saying? Like his vocals are great. He's yeah, he's just one of those like super
He's a
versatile
mysterious
beings.
cat.
Mysterious,
Yeah. He's
It's
a
like it's hard to
mysterious
really
cat.
pin him down
Yeah.
to just like one thing because he's, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying, he has his whole little way about him, you know what I'm saying? That's really
I feel like he only lets you know certain things about him. Like I know that he loves motorcycles and he loves, Harley Davidson motorcycles. He loves that. That's his passion. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And there's only a few things he doesn't really share too much. So he kind of reminds me, he's kind of like the gothic guy of the group.
I could see that. I could definitely see
Yeah,
that. Yeah, he sticks to himself, like stays to himself a lot, I believe, more than the others for sure. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. Yep.
Even when he like rehearses and does things, like he'll do it with the group and then he does his own little like personal things behind the scenes, like, you know, when no one's looking, just to like make sure he has that edge. And you know, because he does want to always do his part, you know what I'm saying? So but he doesn't want to, like, in my opinion, he doesn't want to make it look like he tries too hard to do his part, you know what I'm saying? But he really
Right.
cares and he really does, you know, put in the work and the effort.
My question, this is the last question. Can those dudes eat like they show on TV? Because on TV, these guys smash serious. They
Bro,
go to war.
think about how much they work, bro. That, you know what I'm saying? They're not, it's
True.
mental and
True that.
physical, right? So they burn
Yeah.
a lot of calories all the time. So yes, and they don't it's not like they get to eat 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? They might get to eat 2 times a day, if they're lucky. So when they eat, they definitely take advantage of it. They go in.
It's crazy, man, because you hit on something. I was a professor for 3 years at a performing arts university here in Barcelona, and it was primarily a female school. And these girls are working. Like I would arrive to open up my classroom at about 8:30 in the morning, and then I'd leave about 6:30. These girls were in those dance studios at 6:30 in the morning, and they danced all day long and probably ate once, if that, during the day. And they were leaving after I was leaving, bro. Like, and
and
this
that
is
and they're
every day,
just dancing.
just
That's
dancing.
just dancing, and that's not being famous, and that's not
No,
all the other things that come along with. That's not singing. That's not recording. That's not writing. It's just remarkable how they compartmentalize and really get everything done that they can get done. And I hadn't even seen them get 8 hours of sleep, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? They were working, so intensely that, it'd be like, hey, 5 hours of sleep is like the box for sleep, then
they
gotta get
work
up.
the shit out those boys, man. I
Yeah.
mean, serious. Like some of the guides that we've seen, in one way, I respect the label. I respect how they're moving, and they are literally the example of what perfect, near perfect labeling and artist development is. It's like they literally sat and said, "Look, we're not cutting any corners, man. We're gonna develop the shit out of them to be perfect," and that's what they did. And it is a shining example of how that machine can work if you know each intricate part and you hire the right people for the job. It gets done, and especially when the talent's there and the look is there. And I just I think it's that I kind of lost train of thought, but it basically to me is an example of how we should be doing things in the United States. And when I see how they work them, there's that part where, like, that's what I was saying. There's a part where I respect them as a label, as a business, but then there's a part where I feel like, wow, man, it's damn near like
Ruin.
almost prison terms. You know what I mean? Like they work them like laborers,
Yeah,
big
it's
time.
tough.
It's
Yeah.
tough, man. But the truth is that it sets apart them because we went to go see TXT, which is considered their little brothers. And
Yeah.
bro, listen, it was packed. It's the same thing. They have the bulbs and everything, the chants. But when you look at those guys perform, and then you look at any one of the performances from BTS, there's just a big difference, man. That Son guy, the guy that brought them into their dancing abilities, that choreographer is just super badass. And he's just got
Mhm.
them so cut up that even when they're just messing around with each other and doing dance battles, like they're serious, man. Those guys are serious dancers, especially Jimin. Jimin to me is like of all of them, it's it's close because at the same time,
Yeah, it's great.
you got J Hope who's dope. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But Jimin and those two guys, those Jimin and J Hope seem for me, especially Jimin, are just
Yeah.
natural dancers. So it's cool that you got to
Yeah.
see that, man. And that's why they do eat a lot because you're right. Because that's one thing about those dancers that I would hear echoes of is like when these girls leave, man, they don't just eat anything, but when they do eat, they're sitting down like and they're eating a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're replenishing themselves. They go through a lot of food.
Yeah.
So, man, listen, it's been great to catch up with you. I hope you're serious. Do you really want to do that? Listen to
Let's do it.
RM's
Why
record
not?
together?
Why not,
Yeah, man,
man?
I would
We'll
love
make
that.
it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Have
have Irene set that up, man.
yeah, have Irene
And
set it up. We'll make it happen.
that's exciting, bro. Because to be honest with you, I'll tell you exactly what I thought from the first song that I heard that I reviewed to half of the second tune. I started thinking to myself, I think this guy and this producer really studied Kendrick Lamar a lot.
Mm.
I think they really had that formula of production and tracks and that real artistic view to hip hop, and they did it exactly. That's what it reminded me of. So going forward, when we listen to it, it'll be on my mind that's the first thought that I had, was that these guys paid attention. They paid attention, especially to Kendrick Lamar and how that those songs.
Well,
and his
don't give me too
production.
much. I want a clean
I
slate
won't.
though. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
sorry I even said that much. I'm just so
Clean
excited
slate.
because
Yeah.
yeah. Well, okay, man.
So we'll
Listen,
make it
thank you
happen.
for. Yeah. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the army in closing?
Hey, I appreciate all the love you guys show. I wish I could respond to everyone that's ever, reached out to me over the years. But I tried that once and it turned into a never ending kind of thing. So I apologize for anyone that's ever reached out to me and didn't get a response. Just know that it wasn't, because I didn't want to. And yeah, I appreciate all the love you guys show for me, and I'm glad that we both loved BTS as much as we do. All right.
Hey, man. They kind of changed my life a little bit, and they've definitely given me a little hope, because for a while there during the pandemic, man, it was.
It's tough.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was tough, man. Mentally, it was tough. I was already struggling with PTSD, so being shut in and all that stuff, and then it just they kind of the old saying is that you don't find BTS, BTS finds you, and
The
that's kind of
army.
how I feel
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
The army. Shouts out to the army. Big love to the army as well. Well,
Yeah.
listen, Nate, thank you for stopping by. This is definitely we'll do the video. We're reviewing RM's new record, and well, that's all I can say. And to everybody that stopped by, that's in the chats, thank you guys for stopping by. Everybody else that's going to give comments and everything, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you guys haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and put that notification bell on so you know the next time that we drop one of these interviews with such a prestigious person like Mr. Nate Walka, who actually you're transitioning to Nate Sky, correct?
Yeah. That's coming
Nate.
soon. Yeah.
So am
Yeah.
I to hear that you are a big Star Wars fan then? Walka, Skywalker.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Me
it's
too,
kind of
man. I
just
never knew that.
kind of happened, just because my last name Walker, and they used to just it's just like nicknames that stuck with me, you know what I'm saying? And I guess my head was always in the clouds and all that stuff. So everybody's like,
Are you a Star Wars guy? Are you a big time Star Wars
yeah,
dude?
of course,
Me
of
too, man.
course.
Me too, bro. I was in the theaters the very first Star Wars. I saw the very first Star Wars, A New Hope, in the theater. That just gives away how old I am. But yeah, man, I'm all about it. I'm a Jedi in my mind. So you just got a cooler name. FrankieBiggz sounds like somebody that would be, you know what I mean, in the that old bar with all those scoundrels and stuff. So
Mr. Big. They
Mr.
call him
Biggs,
Frankie
yeah.
Biggs. Let's go.
Bro, man, thank you for stopping by, dog, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And thank you, Army, for showing up. And peace, man. See you soon, Nate.
All right,
Hey.
peace.